Frank or Devlin, whoever wants to chime in first. What's your first thought when I show you this?
God, is that the was it from the Ren and Stimpy, the
Come on.
nose goblins, right? This was the episode that made me stop watching Ren and Stimpy. When he flipped that over and it's the nose goblins, as a kid, that made me sick, and I had to stop watching that show. That was so bad.
Yeah, that show was grotesque.
It's the magic nose goblins. I tried to show it to my kid because it's all on Paramount Plus, and we maybe got through an episode. And I even went big too. I showed her the one. Remember the one where all of Ren's teeth rot out, and so all of his teeth come out, and then he has the little nerve endings, and he's pulling out the nerve endings.
Oh God. Between that one and then the one where Stimpy is trying to make Ren happy, and he starts giving him all of his pieces of his body.
Yep.
So Ren can get all buff.
Yep.
It was so gross.
So it's obviously Ren and Stimpy was one of the original Nicktoons. Do you guys remember the other two?
Doug and Rugrats.
Atta kid.
Yeah.
Give Frank a point.
I still can't figure out how Doug was a great show. Like, I loved that show, and I still can't figure out how.
I know. I loved it too. I was obsessed with that show.
There was nothing crazy about it. It was just straight up being a kid. That's all it was.
To this day, I still go.
The Disney version wasn't that bad, but it wasn't as they did their Disney changes to it. That Nickelodeon one was so much better.
Now you have. I specifically remember one episode of Doug, and it's the one where everybody wants to buy the sneakers, and he can only get like the size 22, so they stuff a bunch of socks in there.
I remember that. What was his superhero alter ego?
Quail Man.
Quail Man, that was it.
And Silver Skeeter.
Silver Skeeter.
And don't remember, so the Dinks, which were Doug's neighbors, that name stood for double income, no kids.
Yeah. Is that where that came from?
That's what that stood for. And then, of course, so there's Doug. You also had Rugrats right there. And then you have Ren and Stimpy. So these three shows were a major contrast to the animated shows from the 80s, which were dominated by merchandise-based cartoons. You're talking like He-Man, Transformers, Thundercats, all of that stuff. And it was so successful that this led to Viacom, which owns Nickelodeon. They put a bunch of money into animating TV shows for MTV, which was started by
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead, 1993. Now, we're going to go more in-depth into MTV's 90s animated shows. I want to see if you guys remember any of these. There was The Head.
Oh, I remember The Head. That gremlin thing lived in it, didn't it?
Yeah, I tried to watch this on more than one occasion. I don't think I could ever actually watch it. It was it was too weird
this
for me.
MTV era of animation was weird.
Liquid TV was wild if you ever watched Liquid
I'm so
TV
glad
back
you
in
brought
the day.
that up, because we will be discussing Liquid Television at a later time as well. Another cartoon, though, was The Max. I used to collect the comic books, by the way. And then one of the other MTV cartoons.
Yeah, on Flux, that was it. Yeah.
They made a movie, right?
It did, yeah.
It was Charlize Theron, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I remember I would just watch this hoping to see like a cartoon boob or something pop out.
Yeah, that was my whole thing with those.
I was like, that's a really small thing covering our private areas. I wonder if anything's going to happen down there. And it never did, but I still watched it.
Didn't this cartoon also spawn off Spawn?
I don't think so.
Inspire Spawn being made? I feel like it did. The animation's too similar.
Well, Spawn was Todd McFarlane.
No, but HBO did a short-lived animation series.
Oh, I mean, that might have been. So the theme, going back to the old Nicktoons, the theme for Rugrats was composed by
Devo.
No shit, really?
Devo's Mark Mothersbaugh. He ended up doing the Rugrats theme song. And now you might be wondering, did Doug and Patty make it?
Isn't that the rumor?
I got some sad news for you. They do not.
Oh, Lord.
They didn't.
Show creator Jim Jenkins was asked about it, and he said it doesn't happen because really people don't end up with their first love.
All right.
But he wrote her that song and recorded it.
Well, there's a lot
It
of
was kinda
songs about
catchy.
love interests
Killer
that
Tofu?
don't work out.
No, Killer Tofu was actually good. It was
That was the Beats.
it was a patty mayonnaise on my sandwich, and
Yeah.
mayonnaise something. He had the hiccups or some shit.
Yeah, Killer Tofu was the Beats, which
Yeah,
was a
Killer
knockoff
Tofu
of the
was
Beatles.
The
And
Beatles.
finally, here's your Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy creator John Crisfalusi. I think that's how you say it. I looked it up, and I've never known how to say that guy's name. And he was only a part of the show until 1992. He and Nickelodeon did not see eye to eye creatively,
Gee, I wonder why.
leading to him to create an alias named Raymond Spum in the credits. So when you see that, that's actually him. It's just an alias. And then he would come back to Ren and Stimpy in 2003 for Spike TV. And we don't need to go into the whole allegations on him. You can look it up on your own. Just look up John Crisfalusi.